Here with Danielle Long. You're a writer, an editor, producer, award-winning. I'd love to just know a little bit about you, like your story, where everything started. I know a little bit about you, but just for everyone else tuning in.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a weird roller coaster, left, right, like up and down story. Um, to kind of start out, I'll just start from the beginning, like the spiel, like how I even got into like media and journalism. So I went to school I started out as a nursing major. So that's always interesting. And while I worked at school, I worked at a bank. So it's finance and medical field here, nowhere near journalism. So
Mhm.
I graduated with a communications degree, but then I still worked in finance for a while. And I guess to cut down a very long story, I had like a quarter life crisis, I call it.
Yeah.
Like at 25, I'm thinking like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Thinking like retirement age is like 65. So if I have to work for the next 40 years, do I want to do what I'm doing? And the answer was, I'm fine doing that, but is there anything else I want to try? Like I don't have any children or like really anything tying me down to where I was at that point.
Mhm.
So it was just like, why don't I go after like the wildest thing I could think of? And I had always been like a fan of like e-news and like I want to do that and talk to celebrities. And I'm like, how hard could it be? And I mean it's kind of hard. I mean, it looks easy, right? But it is, how much work goes into it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I just kind of was like, like why don't I just go after what I want to do? And then if it doesn't work out, like I'm fine going back to finance.
Mhm.
And so I kind of just quit my job. I don't recommend people doing that. I recommend people working through their changes. But I quit my job and I gave myself a year to like figure it out, or
Mhm.
else I was going back. And so I want to say a week or two, literally before I was like, I'm going to call up my old manager, be like,
Mhm.
you got anything for me? Like, can I come back? I landed a job at International Business Times. And
Mhm.
actually, let me like rewind a little bit. I did in college an internship at a radio station and a TV station,
Okay.
which is kind of what like piqued my interest when I was thinking about what I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. I was like, well, I really loved those internships.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like tweaked my resume, put out feelers, and I was getting interviews and calls back. So that's what kind of gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I think I can pursue this like
Mhm.
full time.
Mhm.
And I always was like writing on the side for blogs. Like even when I worked at the bank, I was like, can I write a blog for you guys? Like travel or like finance tips or even just like lifestyle things. I was always finding myself trying to find a way to like talk to marketing and write something.
Yeah.
So I was just like, why don't I just get paid and do this full time? So after the year or right before the year was up, I landed at International Business Times and I did that for about a year. And then I was in the Midwest during this time. So like Wisconsin, Texas, Iowa, like rural Midwest.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, okay, if I really want to take this serious and like go somewhere, I feel like New York or LA is where you need to be, like
Yeah.
where all the events are happening, where everyone is. And I'm from East Coast, from Jersey. So I was like, let's just go on back home.
Yeah.
So I moved home with grandma for a bit and I was just working and then still like applying other places. And I got my job at ABC in January 2020.
Mhm.
And so I kind of was like in New York for about 6 weeks and then the world shut down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so world shut down. And yeah, but I stayed, obviously I stayed at the company through it. And yeah, and then I stopped working there November 2023 because at ABC, I was like a writer. I was working overnights and I was also working on their audio team. And I actually wanted to get more into the broadcast TV side of things. So that's kind of where I'm at like right now in my career. Trying to figure out the next step to do like more broadcasts. I still like writing, but I definitely want to get more into that field, just more like on screen,
Yeah.
not written, but actually like seeing me have these conversations with people.
Yeah, makes sense. That's so
Yeah.
cool. You were a relationship and lifestyle writer for Elite Daily. What goes into that, and what would you say was your favorite part of kind of crafting those pieces?
So my role there, I was just a contributing writer and actually that was one of the first pieces that I had published. Elite Daily, I think, published my first ever piece, which was really exciting. And this was like a while ago. I don't even know, 20, like 10 years ago, maybe. It was a while ago. And so as a contributing writer, I was writing stories and just submitting them, and then they would either accept it or not. So that really, I feel like, is where I got like my feet wet too,
Yeah.
into like what journalism and kind of writing was all about. Those pieces for Elite Daily were more just like personal anecdotes. I don't know if that's the right word, but like personal, like stories or like little opinion pieces, not really much like research, but definitely I would say that was like the start of getting the feet wet.
Fun. Yeah, no. I mean, even before like the online kind of thing, but I was obsessed with like 17 magazine and like all of
Yeah.
those things. So just seeing that and
And
knowing,
the posters all over.
yes. Yeah, I was obsessed with those. Did you have a favorite piece that you wrote or person that you interviewed during your time there?
Yeah, I always say my favorite interview like ever is Ciara.
Yeah.
I'd never got starstruck. Like even before I was in this industry, I was never a person that got starstruck at all. Like they're people just like us, but like cool, you are well known.
Yeah.
But I interviewed her because she was hosting Dick Clark's Rocking New
Yeah.
Year's Eve
Yeah.
special. She's done it a few years now, but I think this was maybe one of the first years she had done it. And I was talking to her about that. And I remember it was Zoom. It wasn't in person. It was on Zoom. And I remember she popped on the screen and I literally just like, I literally feel like my jaw was dropped. And I was just like, you're stunning. Cause she's
Yeah.
just gorgeous. And then talking to her, she's like the sweetest person ever. She's like using your name. Like you feel like you guys are homegirls. Like
Mhm.
you feel like you guys have been friends for so long. She's like, Danielle, I gotta tell you. Like, and so
Oh, that's so
that
sweet.
it's literally she was the sweetest person and like beautiful inside and out, I would say. But that's my most memorable and like my favorite one because definitely felt like we were just friends having a chat. And yeah, the first person to ever get me starstruck.
That's a good one. You talked about how you started off in the finance industry and then you kind of made your way into the entertainment and like writing on that side. What would you say would be something that you learned or advice that you would give someone that's starting out in the industry?
Yeah, I always like to tell the story of kind of how I got in the industry because I think there are some valuable lessons and like inspiration there. Like I know a lot of people when they reach a certain age, or like I know at 25, like I thought I would have my whole life figured out and I'd be like married and have kids and all that. But then you reach that age and you're like, wait, like I'm still so young, like I can't.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think like the key thing is like life is so short, but life is also so long. And when I was sitting there at 25 thinking like 40 years until I can retire, and then how many more years until like what's the life expectancy, 80 something? So it's like 60-ish years. I have the rest of my life. Am I really going to sit here and I'm just going to wonder what if for 60 years? Or am
Yeah.
I going to take a year or two or three or however long it takes to maybe give it a go?
Hmm.
And so I think just don't be scared to go after what you want. And I think the universe has a great way of putting the people in your path that you need to interact with to help make that happen.
Hmm.
I don't know how many times like I've met so many amazing people, you included, but I just feel like opportunities like it's the like listen, I mean I whatever you believe in, right? So for me it's like my faith got me through everything. I feel like sometimes when I tell the story I might sound a little delulu, like people might be like this girl is just too positive or like she sounds delusional, like you can't just make this happen, she got lucky. And I do think it is luck, but I also think just having faith and like knowing that anything is possible, like truly is. And if you work towards it, like everything will work out how it's supposed to be. It might even work out better. A lot of the times it does work out better.
Yeah. No, I'm like 100% on board with you on that. I'm very much, I mean, I have my relatives and like stuff where like this girl's so delusional, but I'm like, it's worked out for me thus far. So I think it will in the future. Just
Yeah.
you're trusting God or whoever you believe in. And I think just trying to keep as positive as possible, but also working as hard as you can. And then things are going to happen. Like if you put the work toward it, even if it takes 5 years, 10 years, things are going to happen. So
Yeah.
it
And
definitely.
not like knowing that you don't have to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, like I'm a big planner, like a lot. Sometimes to the point, like I've calmed down a lot, but like it'd be the point, like if I had dinner plans with someone at 4, and then all of a sudden they're like 5, and I'm like, I don't know, like what an hour, like it might throw my whole like schedule off.
Yeah.
But then you just kind of learn to like roll with life. Like things are always going to change, and I think just always remaining flexible and adaptable is like a good asset to have for people to have. But yeah, you don't need to know all the answers. It'll come to you. That reminds me of a story. So my first red carpet I
Yeah.
did was about a year after I had started at ABC. It was the 2021 BET Awards.
Okay.
I'd never done a red carpet before. I think I only had like one interview under my belt at that point. It was Saweetie though.
That's a good one
And
to have under your
yeah,
belt, though.
no, literally, it was my first one I did in my grandma's attic. It was like, Sweetie's really cool too. She's a
Yeah.
cool interview. Um, but I just happened to be in LA. I was like personal. I had taken vacation. I was with friends,
Mhm.
and I found out like our team wasn't sending anyone to LA to cover the awards, and I was like, "Well, I'm here. Can I
Mhm.
just do them?" And they were like, "Yeah, like you totally can." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay." So I'm asking everyone. They're like giving me advice, but also it's like a little post COVID, so things aren't the same. You still have like the 6 feet rules or whatever it is. So it was very um nerve wracking kind of going into it. But I just kind of made friends with the people next to me, and I just kind of see what everyone else is doing. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of how it goes. And you learn like on your feet. So like that's the instance where I was like, I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't have anyone shadow beforehand.
Wow.
And I just kind of was like, well, I know how to ask questions and I know how to hit record. So we're gonna go with that
Yeah.
and roll. And it ended up being like a really, really great experience. There was so much content to come out of that. Um, so that was really, really fun. And just, again, another point that you won't have all the answers, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, I love that too. And even in our industry, I feel like it's very much a learn as you go and like put yourself in the situation and just learn instead of like, oh, like, is there a tutorial? Is there, because everyone does things so differently, but it's the
Mhm.
same foundational formula. It's just how you put your own twist to it, I would say.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Your
no,
own swag, your own riz. Is that
your
what
own
the kids say
charm.
these days? I feel old.
Yeah. Just started Us Weekly. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What has been like, what has that experience been like? How has it differed from like what you've done before, and what are you like looking most forward to?
Yeah. So with this next move, I kind of wanted to do I was an entertainment writer before at ABC covering music things, but I feel like with you like a US Weekly or like an OK magazine, you can kind of dive a little bit more into like the reality shows and like housewives. Like I'm a big Housewives reality Bravo fan of everything, Love Island. So it's like
Yeah.
with ABC, it's like a more I can't think of the right adjective, but it's like they're not necessarily covering what Teresa said on Housewives last night. And so I just really kind of wanted to dig more into that
Hmm.
um, topic. And so that's why I kind of was like US Weekly, which has been really nice. It's only been about a month, really, not
Okay.
very long. Like I started in June, but I was on vacation and stuff. So it's really only been about a month. And so I'm still kind of learning the ropes and things, yeah, so I just could say it's been great so far. I'm
Favorite.
looking forward to diving more into those topics and definitely getting some interviews under my belt there.
I mean, the new Love Island season,
I
I'm waiting for you to interview Cordell and Serena.
know. Oh my
I
gosh.
I love this new season, and I'm sure you're watching it too, and I know you're a big
Mhm.
girl as well. So I was like, it's all of the things wrapped in one. What shows you watching right now? Like, what are you following? What does that look like for you on a day to day?
So I don't think people honestly believe me. Like people say they watch a lot of TV. Like I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah.
To the point where I have an app on my phone. It's called TV Club,
Oh
and
no.
it tracks all my shows for me. I'm gonna
Oh
but
no
like if
way.
I'm trying maybe it won't. Oh, whatever. But you can kind of see there's a lot of
Oh, so those are
shows.
all the ones
Like
you're
it
watching
goes and
right
there's
now.
No, so these are all the shows like ever.
Ever. Okay, gotcha,
And
gotcha.
then it'll give me like a rundown. Like I have my watch list for the week and it has the episodes, like what episodes. So I didn't watch yet. Can't wait for Emily in Paris to come back. And like I've been watching the Olympics. Really, that's probably what. Honestly, I haven't really been watching the shows too much, but I've been watching the Olympics, like watching Simone crush it. And then I just watched her documentary.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So there's just a little fun fact too. Like I watch so much TV that when I was at ABC, I created like the weekend watch list, which is not a new concept, but they didn't have it at the time. And I was like, everyone's home at COVID. They want to know what they can watch on TV. So every week I would curate this, like what to watch. And it was just like a few, like however many I could fit because we had a word limit. So all the shows like that for that week. And I still do that today, like at my current publication. And then I think I might start a TikTok series on it too. Like who
Oh,
knows?
I think you definitely
Um,
could. Yeah.
yeah. And reality. So I did weekend watches and then I created one that's just reality TV specific. It's like a watch list slash the top news, like the biggest news, reality news of the week. So like when Scandival was happening, ooh, that was just so juicy to write.
So kind of like a I forget his name. I think his name's Zachary on TikTok, where he kind of has like his niche for bachelor news. So you,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool, cool, cool. Because I follow him because I'm a big like bachelor, bachelorette, like that whole
Okay.
thing. And I think it's so good.
I know. Here's my thing though, is like, people say like niche down, but I'm like, I just feel like you don't really need to because everyone's like multifaceted and has a lot of interests. So I feel like if I show all my interests, someone will be interested in one of them. Like it might be different people coming to me for different things, but like I feel like a lot of people can still come to me for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think it's like a good thing to obviously like build the audience, niche down, whatever. But I think as you start to grow, people want to see multiple sides of you. And what one person might watch and like, connect with another person won't. And then you'll have even more of an audience. So I never feel like it's a good thing to just be one dimensional, especially in today's society.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
for sure.
boring. You know what I mean? So I don't, I'm like,
No, yeah.
wrong.
No,
Yeah.
for it's serious. Yeah.
So I'm so glad that we were able to kind of sit down and talk about it and your journey and all of that. And it's super inspiring, even to me, because I'm just starting out.
I'm also inspired by you because like
Um,
I know it's like, I mean, like I feel like I'm older, but also I'm still like new in this career. Like I did finance for literally 10 years before I did this. I'm barely like, well, like 5 years into this. That's still kind of like new. And so I'm still learning and you inspire me just as much.
oh, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.